Are your yields lacking? Are your plants looking undernourished or even dead? Hi, my name's Eli Robinson, and I think it's time you need to take a soil sample. I've been conducting soil samples for the past 2 years now, and I've learned a lot about the process. Soil sampling is a necessary process. It needs to be conducted every 2 to 3 years in order to be knowledgeable about the nutrients that are in your soil, which in turn go into your plants. So first thing we're going to talk about is the application you use in order to conduct a soil sample. Second thing we're going to do is actually talk about the process of taking the soil sample and collecting it. Third thing we're going to talk about is what you do after collecting the soil sample and where you need to ship it to in order to get your results.
So before we head out to the field, we have to make sure the farmer is connected to where his soils are being taken through an online application. I prefer the Cirrus app. So first we're going to open it up, and then we're going to go down and click the plus button. After that, we're going to create a boundary. Then it's going to give us a couple options. We can pick a field that's already in the system. We can have it track us around the field boundary. We can draw the field boundary. We can select a pivot point of irrigation for the boundary, or we can measure the boundary. For the sake of this demonstration, we're just going to go ahead and draw the boundary. So now we're going to go and find our field at the Purdue Agronomy Farm. We're going to go ahead and draw the boundary as such by placing points around the edge. Close polygon, and then we are ready to select our grower, Robinson, farm 1, just to keep things simple. And then we're going to name the field Field 1. Press save, and now our field is saved within the app. To start sampling, we're going to press the plus button again, go down to soil sampling grid, set our grid so that the field is within one of those grids. Make sure our grid size is 2.5 acres. Go ahead, press the route. And since our field is smaller than 2.5 acres, we only have 1 point, so we're going to skip that step. We're going to make sure we start on sample ID 1 and make sure our depth is 8 inches. And now we're ready to head out to the field.
So the first thing we got to do before we go out into the field and take the soil samples, we got to make sure we have our supplies. We got our soil probe, which will actually take the soil sample, our soil bucket in order to put the soil in, our GPS mapping system, Cirrus, we just set up in the first step, screwdriver in order to take the soil out of the soil probe, and we have our soil bag. So in order to take an accurate and good soil sample, you have to get 5 to 6 probes within your 2.5 acre grid. So in this plot, we're going to take 5 to 6 probes, which is what one of these is called. So as you can see here, at our 6 to 8 inch mark, which is about how deep we want to be. So we're going to go down to our 6 to 8 inch mark, twist, pull, okay? Throw that in the bucket, okay? You can see at the end there's a little bit, so that's what we use our screwdriver for. Get it all out of there. And then we repeat that process about 5 more times within this plot. We should be good to go. So now that we have our 5 to 6 probes and that our sampling is finished, we got our bucket full of soil here. Okay, we got to mix it up a little bit. We got to make sure all these clumps are out of there. Okay, see, like rocks, you got to throw those out of there. Debris. So then we're going to take our soil sample bag here. All right, open it up. Take our bucket. It's okay if some falls on the ground. We have to fill the bag to that level right there, as you can see. Okay. So now they know where the soil sample was taken and what nutrients are coming from that area. So that right there, in essence, is how you collect a soil sample. The next and final step in the soil sampling process is to fill out our sample bag so our testing lab knows where each sample came from in the field. This way, they will be able to correspond each sample with the correct results. We want the information we put into our map to match that of which we put on our soil bag. In this case, we're going to fill out the farm or site, Robinson, the field or area, Field 1, and the sample ID, which is point 1 in this case. If you have more than one point, the sample ID will correspond to which point you are at.
Now we are going to take our soil sample either to a local mill or to a soil lab. Here they will conduct the test to receive the farmer's results that consist of soil pH, macronutrient potency, etc. According to an interview I conducted with local mill manager Joe Tone, after receiving the soil sample, results should be back within a week. After conducting an interview with my grandfather, he says that ever since he started taking soil samples every 2 years, he has seen a drastic boost in his yields he produces every year. He says don't wait any longer than every 2 years to take your soil samples, because then your nutrient levels could be all thrown off and you have no idea. Today we talked about the application we use in order to take the soil samples and register them. We talked about how to collect the soil samples correctly and even where to ship them in order to get your results. Soil sampling is a very important process to farmers that could make the difference in between them making no cash and having it spill out of their pockets. Thank you, and that is my presentation.